I want to welcome everybody to our last day of the conference, Wednesday. We've had some amazing presentations, some incredible energy in this room, and I know that going forward today we're going to at least maintain that, if not build on it. So again, yesterday, I think that Monday night we all got together. We were able to identify some very key elements for strategy moving forward. The notes from Monday night's sessions are rich with ideas and with passion and with positivity. And then yesterday we heard about how we got to where we are. And we had some very incredible speakers, very passionate panelists, and very, very informative. I know that I learned a lot yesterday as well. And so that sets the stage for today. And today is about going forward. Today is about what can we do to enhance employment for people with disabilities. And what can we do as a community, as members of our groups, to ensure that that there is a national strategy. What are the pillars of that strategy? What are the timelines? What are the who are the players? All of that. That's what we're going to deal with that this afternoon as a group. But this morning we're going to set the stage with some other really key elements, including technology and a visionary panel. So, and on that note, it is my sincere pleasure to introduce, I'm going to say his last name properly, Charles Levasseur. Yes. So Charles, I know Charles quite well. We sit on a number of committees together, and Charles is the Atlantic Regional Manager for the Assistive Technology and Learning Disability Program and Services for Neil Squire. Charles came to the Neil Squire Society from the private sector, focusing on the information technology e-learning industry. He was the Chief Technology Officer and holds various Microsoft certifications. He also holds a diploma from the CCNB Edmundston and has completed 3 years of the Business Administration program at the University de Moncton and completed the online teacher training certificate program from Conestoga College, Kitchener, Ontario. Charles has been working on various assistive technology projects in conjunction with the Department of Post-Secondary Education, Training and Labor in the Department of Early Education Childhood Development as it relates to assessing individuals who require funding from the province to receive assistive technology. He has also worked with Elections New Brunswick as a project coordinator for the disability and seniors community for the 2008 to the 2014 municipal and provincial elections. Charles has a very hands-on approach to working to assisting persons with disabilities find employment and providing one-on-one training to use complex assistive devices in both a classroom setting and in-home settings. And I think, wow, that's a lot, eh? And so I'm going to leave it to Charles to wow you the way he always wows me. And the stage is yours, Charles. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, thank you. Can you guys hear me? I'm going to be switching between devices this morning, so there'll be a bit of disconnect for the screen. I apologize for that. But because I'm traveling, I didn't bring all my switches and all the technology. I just pick and choose what I could carry in the luggage. Neil Squire Society, I'm just going to introduce Neil a bit because I think this is the concept of where our technology background comes from. Neil was a 21-year-old student, car accident, which basically is a common accident. It could happen to any of us, and he became a person that obviously was not able to communicate and move to a great extent. So in this case, his dream changed. His perspective had to change at that point. Basically, he was lucky that in his family, somebody was an engineer that could actually come up with something that would allow him to do what he wanted to do in terms of communication. He couldn't talk to the doctors or nursing staff at that point in the hospital, right? So his cousin actually came up with technology. And it's an old technology. It's basically back, and that's the early 80s, right? So you can realize there's not a whole lot of things available at that time. And if you could look at the right picture, you could see that he's actually using a mount device that he can actually, it's a switch basically, you know, a two-way switch where you sip and puff. And we combined that back then with the Morse code system, which is two text, two characters, a dot and a dat. And basically by learning Morse code, obviously, which is a challenge in itself, but not only learning it, but being able to use this device, then Neil was able to communicate quite avidly, and he actually wrote a lot of letters to the patients that were beside him in a similar condition. So in the ward that he was in, he was actually the one motivating the other people to stay focused and stay positive. So that technology obviously was what we created back then. This technology became the JAWS. You guys might have heard of the JAWS. 1995, we sort of gave the JAWS to CompuSolve because we don't really market the products. So basically, they're selling it now. It's quite expensive technology. It's about $2,000, so it's not really affordable to everybody. A few years ago, we got a grant from Google to somewhat create some kind of a similar device, but for mobile device, okay? And I'm holding that in my hand now, so we did it. This one is more like $300 because it's open source, right? So we're giving the recipe for this. Anybody wants it, we'll give you the recipe. You need a 3D printer, obviously, to print the casing, but you also need to have a bit of electronic knowledge because you have to put together the electronic. So, I mean, for $300, you get all the parts you need, and then you get somebody to put it together. What we've done is we partner with a lot of rehabilitation hospitals in Canada and the US. You know, we're giving that to them. So like in New Brunswick, where I'm from, we have the Stan Cassidy Hospital, and in Nova Scotia, the Nova Scotia Rehabilitation Hospital, and basically they already have one of those, and a technician there knows how to build it. And then we're going to be partnering with some of the colleges and university. We already started that. There was one in Toronto not too long ago. We just did Alberta. And then we're going to do some in the east eventually, where the students will be building this technology for people in the province or people in Canada. So that's coming up soon. But basically, the whole key with this one here is that it allows you to control mobile device, right? So if you have the inability to use tactile device, your hands to touch a screen, you know, like it's great technology. You know, this cell phone, they're perfect technology, but it's not for everybody because some people can't use their gestures, right? The touching. So this allows them to be able to control a cell phone and control a tablet you know, using a similar technology that Neil started back in the early 80s, okay? So, you know, same concept. The concept didn't change. The technology itself did, so that's basically what their background between Neil Squire. Let me just go to my next slide. Now, you notice that I'm not using PowerPoint. I'm using a note-taking software called OneNote, and I'm using that for a purpose because today's demonstration is about using technology. So, I mean, everybody's seen slide go from next to next, right? I mean, there's no technology there. It's been around for a long time. This is not as exciting, obviously, as a slideshow. The finished product is not as, you know, I did not put any animation or anything like that. But that wasn't the point. The point is that I'm showing you a software that can be useful for a person with disability. And not only that, it's a mainstream or mainframe software that anybody can use. It's not just for person with disability. It's a software that is being used by everybody, whether they're in business world, whether they're studying, you know, with or without a learning disability, it doesn't matter, right? It's just a great tool, okay? Now, I'm using it as a note-taking type software. So those are my notes when I was preparing this presentation. So instead of taking my notes and turning that into a PowerPoint, which will be my finished product eventually if I do that, I keep that in the draft mode. And for me, you know, it's not a PowerPoint presentation. I don't want to come up here and show slides. I want to show you the software, and that's why I do it that way. So as Maureen mentioned, there was a great conference. It is a great conference. We still got one day to go. Yesterday was how we got to where we are. Today is about where we're going and how do we get there. The technology that I'm going to be showing today can help, okay? I'm going to be showing technologies on the laptop. I'm going to be showing technologies on the iPad and cell phone. But there's not a whole lot of time, so I'm going to go as fast as I can. We only have 45 minutes, so the question period probably not going to happen during the session, but I'll be here all day. So I mean, if you have any question, come and see me. I'll be here. I'll make myself available at break during lunchtime, and I could answer any question at that time, okay? Okay, so very important for this technology concept is that we have to change those three things, and this was said yesterday in different words, like I heard the word reframing, right, which is a great concept, which is basically what I'm trying to say here. You know, we have to change the way we work, right, in order to be able to use some of this new technology. We have to change the way we think, and we have to change the technology we use, you know, because, I mean, I'm still in my office, and we're a technology company, but we're still using Office 2010. It's changing soon, and I'm waiting for it. I got 365 on mine because I just decided to go ahead with it. But you know, the majority of our staff is using Office 2010. There's a lot of challenge when you introduce technology into the workplace or in the field of education. It's because there's IT departments that will set up rules. And they do it for our protection, obviously, and the protection of the information of our clients. So yeah, it's very important to follow these rules. But those rules sometimes will create some barriers, right? So for example, I have a very basic example. The iPad, great technology for the schools, but the native mail app in the schools is blocked because they're not opening up the port to use that technology, right? So if you have an iPad in the school system, and I'm talking high school, you can't use the native mail app. Now this year, because Microsoft donated or provided license for all our students in New Brunswick, then no problem, we could use Outlook on the iPad, right? So we kind of solved it this year, but it wasn't solved. It was that it came up with a new technology eventually that replaced the native app, which is a great app, right? So if we could have used the mail app in the school, you know, it would have saved us a lot of trouble because, you know, printing on the iPad, it works, but it's not always set up properly. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to do today, is to address those things. So I'm going to give you some new ways of using technology, right? So I'm going to challenge the technology a bit. All right, so let's talk about what is this technology here. Here's some of the technology that I brought forward. Dragon, you guys know Dragon. It's a voice recognition software. Now, I use Dragon a lot. We have a lot of clients that use Dragon. Dan on the middle picture was a Dragon user, actually. The concept here is that Dragon is not for every disability. I have a lot of psychologists that are recommending Dragon for learning disability. That's not the right solution. Learning disability, you don't need something to control the computer by your voice because you still have mobility. So, you know, why use all the features of Dragon? All you need is dictation. There's better choice for dictation than Dragon for people with learning disability. But if it's mobility, yeah, for sure, let's go with Dragon. Okay, so it depends, right? There's all these factors. Dan is actually using the lip sync. It's a new technology, which is going to be Bluetooth soon, by the way. Right now, it's still a wire. You know, that's changing very soon. There's these little switch. That's another concept, just like the lip sync. This one is for my iPad, and I got sensory switch too, so you don't even have to press. You just put your mouse, your hand nearby, or any parts of the body. You just move, and it'll trigger a movement. So those switches can be used to control a device, whether it's a laptop, an iPad, or even a cell phone, right? So it's just two buttons, and there's a way to type with that, you know, believe it or not. It's the same thing with the Morse code, right? The next concept is the personal digital assistant. You guys use those? I use. That's pretty neat. I mean, now Cortana on Windows, right? Bixby is the new one. I haven't tried yet. I'm not sure. Anybody tried Bixby? No, I don't see anybody. That's the Android version, right? And the last one is the Siri. So, you know, why is that great technology? Well, it's not voice work, it's not Dragon, but, you know, I can tell my Siri, because I use Siri, that don't forget to remind me about something. And Siri will just go in my calendar and create an event, and she'll remind me. And it works really good. All I do is to press a button. Remind me to call Joanne tomorrow at 9. Searching for the internet. I don't have too many bars.
Which phone number for Joanne Gillespie?
So I got 2 phones for Joanne. It's asked me to pick which one. Okay? So, I just use the voice. And this one I had to actually press the button because I'm not connected. But the Hey Siri means you could just say Hey Siri and you don't even have to press it, right? And I have a person that use a Dynavox. A Dynavox is a communication device for people that cannot speak on their own. And basically she's been using that all her life. It still works great. We basically put a switch that we connected to a cell phone. And then with the Dynavox, we don't even use the switch anymore. With the Dynavox, we program a button that says, Hey Siri, call, and then she can type the name of the person she wants to call. So now if she wants to call her mother, call somebody, she just does it on their device. She's probably going to be upgrading to iPad soon, but she's still using a Dynavox. She pressed that, the phone knows exactly what to do, the phone will dial, and if somebody will answer, then she'll be able to talk pressing buttons, right? So, I mean, people that traditionally could not use a phone because they cannot speak can now use a phone using the technology, right? Works great, okay? The reason mentioned, of course, AI, artificial intelligence, that's coming. I just saw yesterday Facebook implemented feature in their application to detect suicidal tendencies or thoughts, right? So they're changing the way we get self-help. If you're in Facebook and you're typing messages that could potentially lead to killing yourself, then Facebook may be able to pick that up and then somehow trigger something to prevent that from happening, right? That's artificial intelligence right there, okay? So yeah, so it's actually great technology. How we use it, well, there's so many things to do. You have to be creative, right? Okay, now, here's my OneNote business case. Why OneNote? It's me when I was in high school. It's not actually me, but this was pretty much me, right? See those binders? That's a perfect example right there. What my teacher recommended probably is something like this, right? Create a nice little file folder and tabs and all that. Well, I have it now. It took all these years, but it's in OneNote. See all these tabs on top? All right, so I got, presentation, on file note, quick note. I got a whole bunch of tabs that I can create. And you could create different binders and folders. Like this is my binder that I work from. But, it's up to you. And then you can basically use these as note-taking type of pages. But you could also use it for all kinds of stuff. And why is that important? Well, for example, I saw you guys took notes yesterday. So let's talk about note-taking. Note-taking is very important for any one of us, right? A lot of people are just using pen and paper, right? And they take notes. I took some notes yesterday on my cell phone, and I saw some people were probably typing on cell phone, hopefully taking notes. But the concept is that what do you do with these notes on paper? Well, they're on paper for me. This is the whole concept. Paper doesn't work for me. But if I add something like this, right, which is a little device, this is the iris pen, then I can take this pen, write on that piece of paper, okay? And let me show you what it does. Okay, so that's not my handwriting, but somebody's handwriting. And they basically took these notes on the piece of paper. Then we convert all the pages. Press OK. It'll take it from the left side. It'll put it on the right side. And it'll put it in text that you can work with. All right? So this is, this is workable text. Right? So, I mean, who's going to use that? Well, people that are taking minutes, right? I mean, people that are taking notes. It just saves you a lot of time. Okay, so that's not for everybody, because, for a person that doesn't have good handwriting or a person that cannot use handwriting, that's not a technology for them. Fine, there's other stuff. Let's take a look at it. So go back to OneNote. with my OneNote, I'm going to create a new page here, okay? And I'm just going to call it, I don't know, conference. So it's very easy to create a page. I'm using the presentation tab today, but I could put it pretty much anywhere. Then I'm going to say, all right, so I'm taking notes for the conference. Well, I already done some yesterday, and I'll show you the way I took my notes yesterday. If I can find it, note from conference. I took some slides, I took some pictures, right? I took some text that I wrote on my cell phone. Here's the proof that I wasn't texting, right here. Okay, there it is. Those are notes that I typed on my cell phone yesterday, right? And I could combine with a lot of pictures that I took. They're not always on the right side, but that's not a problem. I can work with this, right? And I could go back and organize my notes at a later time, right? Now, how did I get them from the cell phone to my OneNote? Because my laptop wasn't on yesterday. I didn't do that, but I use an application called Office Lens, and I don't think I'll switch here because I'm afraid just for the cell phone. I think I'll just bring it up on the screen. Office Lens. Okay. That's the one. So that's free. Okay, so that's application there. And basically, there's a screenshot down here. So you take a piece of paper, you take a picture. I was sitting on the back table when I took that picture here, by the way. You know, I was sitting way back. And I took a picture, no problem. But if you look at it, you take pictures from a board, it doesn't matter. This is what it looks like on the mobile, right? You just take a picture. And then when you're done with the picture, you actually press Save. And then it says, okay, where do you want to save it? Now, this is a Microsoft app, so usually the choice for that one would be OneNote, which is the one I use, right? So as soon as I selected OneNote, it went from my phone into my cloud, which eventually went to my devices. Right? By the way, my cell phone has OneNote on it, my iPad's got OneNote on it, my Samsung tablet's got OneNote, my laptop's got a OneNote, doesn't matter, it's all synchronized, right? So that's a free app. You could download for your Android device, you can also download it for your iPhone or tablet or even your computer, okay? So that's how I did that. Now I'll give you an example how well this works. I go into another tab for a second. I do have a slide that I took at UNB. A while back. Here it is. All right, the quality is not the greatest. It's got a lot of light on the left side here. But it's good enough because my OneNote, I added a software called Learning Tools right on top here. And my Learning Tools can actually read it, or most of it. Okay, let me see if I can turn up the volume. I'm assuming the speaker should work here. Okay, so that's part of the display. I'll just turn it off and I'll go loud on using my internal speakers. Positive psychology research in positive psychology demonstrates the chance of... It's low. I don't have the speaker connected there. But you see how it's reading? Now I'll go back at the beginning because there's a mistake and you'll see what happened there. Positive psychology research in positive psychology demonstrates the tense, right? So that's not a word. It could be, but not a one that I'm familiar with. It's the importance. But look at the quality of the picture. That's why it didn't work. See the too much light in that corner? And again, I'm sitting in a traditional university classroom, what is it, like 30 rows back, like an auditorium type classroom, and I'm using a cell phone. I probably should have went forward to the front and take the picture of better quality, then I would not have that problem. But you see the concept though, right? You can actually take information, bring it in very easily, and work with that information. If it's not listening to it, maybe you just want to copy the text from the picture, right? Copy text from the picture, and just come down here and I'll paste it. There it is. Then I can work with that text, right? So it might not be for reading, it might be just for working with the information, right? So that's basically what I'm going to do with the notes that I took from the presentation yesterday. I'm going to take the text and I'll do something with it eventually, right? But the concept is capturing it, You know, it doesn't matter if you have a mobility. You can actually use a lip sync to control a cell phone now, right, or mobile device. So it's very easy to mount that on a wheelchair. If you're using your switches, it doesn't matter. If you're using your laptop, and the cell phone is great because the camera on the laptop is not the greatest. Like it's meant for video conferencing, where the cell phone on the laptop or tablets is better because you have two cameras, right? Most laptops only have one camera, unless you have a hybrid like a Microsoft Surface. But even then, it's not the easiest, right? So I find the office lens on the cell phone is probably one of the best tools that I came up with. And of course, instead of sending to OneNote, I could send to OneDrive too, right? Maybe you don't use OneNote, but you could put to OneDrive, right, which is the cloud. Then you go in OneDrive and pick it up. Okay. All right, so what I like about this software too, by the way, and I'm just going to go and create another page. I think I did that actually already. Yeah. I can add some notes here. So I could insert basically anything, right? Screen clipping. Okay, so screen clipping. Let's go see this. I'm just going to pick something more interesting than that. There it is. All right, so let's say you're doing some research, okay? Then you go in and you go to your OneNote, you find the site you want, go to OneNote, you insert. You want to insert the screen clipping. And then you go back and you pick whatever you want to select. All right, I'll just pick that for now. Here it is. It goes right into my OneNote. Okay, again, it's a picture, but it's a picture that can be read because OneNote has the technology to be able to convert it to text. Okay, so works really good. For my students, what I do is I recommend that they use audio sometime, right? So former note-taking, I mean, if you have a pen, you can't really record audio unless you have a smart pen, which I'll show in a second. But if you go here, you could insert audio. Now, it's not synchronized audio, which I'll show in the smart pen in a second. But right now, it's recording what I'm saying. It's creating an icon. So you're basically creating audio snippets, right? Like little bits of audio. And then you could stop that, right? And it's perfect, I find, for my students with difficulty of executive function because you could create what you need, but then type something else, like stop it, type something else, and then go back, record something else. So you're not recording the entire session. You're recording only parts that is important to you. And it works great in schools that the teacher don't want to be recorded, right? Because you say, well, listen, just tell me when you want me to record. And the teacher says, okay, record this. And then, no problem. And then turn that off, right? So class, it helps with classroom management, which is great, and it's important, right? So you could put as many of those as you want. This being a touchscreen, obviously, I can actually type, hold on. I can actually draw, and I don't have my stylus for this one today, but I could draw, right? And I can actually draw, hold on, my name. Not a good drawer, but doesn't matter. And then I go back in my draw, and then I use convert ink to text, right? So that's ink. And of course, on the top right, I got a feature that I can convert ink to text, which is what I've done with this, right? So this is a different technology, but it's ink to text. Ink on paper, bring that to the computer, and then it converts it to text. Same concept. What do I pay for this? $150, something like that? Well, I don't need it. All I need is a good stylus and the touchscreen, and you can do it. So you don't need that if you're doing it directly on the computer. Okay? So same concept. It's just that I'm using the computer differently, and that's what I mean by change the way we use the technology, change the way we work. It's there. It's here today. So let's use it, right? So let's not. And we should introduce that early in the school. That's a different conversation there, but we definitely need to make sure that our kids that are graduating already know this. For them, when they go to post-secondary, they should be ready for stuff like that, right? Okay. The smart pen. Here's a smart pen right here. Now, I guess it's got the small book, but it comes with a larger book, and it's specialized paper, okay? So if I just turn on my pen, it's electronic pen. All right, so you see my name, okay? It's hard to see, I know when you're there. I could show you later if you guys come and see. And if I just touch, and I hope this is the book for this pen. We'll see. If not, I'll create something. That's not, because it's not coming on. So I'm going to record something. So record. Okay, so now it's recording. You don't see that, but I'm just going to go write something. And doesn't matter. I'm going to stop. Write something. And doesn't matter. Okay, I'll show you on the screen. So the concept here. My Echo Desktop is the software I use for that one. So basically, when I'm done with my notes, I can bring that to the computer, which I've done here. Oh, update, not now. And I think somebody borrowed my pen because that's not my handwriting. That's better. So I'm going to click on that. That's Asha. Yeah, so basically, notice how it's synchronized. Like you don't really hear the audio because it's too low, but the audio is playing right now. And you see how it's basically going as it was recorded. Okay, so it's rewriting on the screen what was written with the pen, and then it's showing the audio. So if I want to go back, oh, what did he say there? Click, goes back. You don't have to rewind, forward. It's right there. Very easy to work with. That's synchronized. As opposed to one note earlier when I took the audio snippets. Right, that's not synchronized, but this is synchronized, okay? So that's a smart pen. I'm just going to stop it. And then you could create all these notebook, right? So what you do, let's say I got an Excel test tomorrow. Then I want to say, okay, I need that page here. I need that page right here. So I'm going to take that page and put that in my customized notebook that I created. Now I got 3 pages in that notebook, right? 2 of them are the same, apparently, but it doesn't matter. The concept is that it's easy to work with that information, bring it together, easy to make research, it's easy to work. You know, like when you take notes, sometimes it's a bit disorganized. This could help you organize it, okay? Okay, so let's see now. Now, the Smart Pen, by the way, is a tool that, you know, who's going to use that? And that's always my question when I meet somebody is, okay, what's the situation here? What is needed? But who's this technology for? Because, you know, one would say, well, it's for the client. Well, to me, no, not always. You know, like that's the way changing the way we think. Because, for example, if I have a student in one classroom that does take good notes, why not? You know, why not get the Smart Pen to that student instead of to the other students that cannot take good notes, right? Because that notes can be shared very easily using technology, right? So I forgot to mention that, but let's go back here for a second. If I go in File, oops, no update. I'll pick the Starter Notebook again, File, and I'll share by email. So very easy to share that. All I need to do is I select, you know, what the format. I'm going to go with LiveScribe PDF. So a LiveScribe PDF is a PDF, but when you open it, it's going to download a player so you can actually hear the audio too. So you're going to email a PDF with a link to a player that is actually going to be automatic. So remember when I went like this? Bring up the page here. And it was playing, all right? I'll just stop it. Well, if you share that as a PDF, the person receiving the PDF can do the same thing, even though they don't have the Echo Desktop software. They don't need it, you know, because the company provided a way for anybody to be able to listen to the file using the PDF format. So it's a great technology. And by the way, here's another example. This is a tutor, a math tutor, right? Like math technology is very difficult. Because, you know, it's a language. Math's a language, and you have to make sure that, you know, people are using it, the teachers are using it as well as the person is using it. So it's a bit complicated. Like the math books are not using like the math language yet. Like a lot of it is printed and all that. But see, here's a tutor can use a Smart Pen when they're teaching a math equation to a student, record their instructions, and give the Smart Pen to the student or share the file with them, so the student always have that information with them, you know, when they go home and do their homework. Okay? So again, it's not, technology didn't necessarily go to the student, it went to the tutor in this case. What happened in my province is technology goes to the student, but when I teach the student how to use it, I ask the tutor to show up also, and I teach the tutor at the same time. All right, so that's how we can do that. It's very easy to include other people when you're teaching, because I'm not going to be there all the time with the student. You know, the tutor will be, so the tutor should be promoting it. Same thing when I work in the schools. In the school system, I teach the teachers how to use that technology, all right? Because it's the school that needs to support the student, not me. Like, I'm an outside person, all right? You know, so. Okay. Oh, here's my email came up. Here's my 2010 email. There we go. Okay, so anyway, so that's Smart Pen. Oh, I'm not going to log in. Here's another one that's interesting. Where is it? Sonasend. Have you guys heard of that one? It's fairly new. There it is. It's one of my favorite. New version, of course, yeah. There's always updates. I'm going to open a project that exists already. Time travel. You guys want to learn about that? Here it is. Looks kind of weird, right? But it's very easy to understand, so therefore very easy to use. And you can use the actual recording, because it's a recording app, same as the Smart Pen, same as the OneNote when you do the actual recording. But basically on the left side, yeah, your left side is your PowerPoint. So a lot of time the students will get the PowerPoints ahead of time, and if you do great, then you put it on the left side. The second column is just notes that you type. So that would be the person using the software, typing their own notes. And the third column is the audio. Now, the audio doesn't come as, audio frequency waves like we're normally used to with Audacity and all these other software. They come in clusters of audio, and I'm going to create a new one just to show you. I'm not going to put the slide. I'm just going to press record right now. And you'll see that the blocks of text will be going to the screen. And every time I pause, it puts a pause between the blocks. Okay? And if I want, and that's the beauty, the last column, I can say, all right, no, the teacher is going to say, that's on the test, right? Which means, oh, that's important. So I'm going to click on important. So it's going to color code that audio red. Okay? And then I'm going to go back to summary after that, or review, whatever. You could change color. You pick the color you want. You pick the coding you want, too, which is nice. See, right now I'm using important, review, task, summary, delete. I'll stop it, and I'll go to my time travel. And in my time travel, I'm using important, reference, terminology, task, don't understand. I like that last one. If you don't understand, you just put it that color. Then, when you're looking at your notes, then you know what you need to spend more time on because you didn't understand that part. Then you go to your professor or your teacher with that, and you ask them. Okay? I'm going to play it. It's probably not going to be loud enough, but I'll try it. Yeah, it's too low, I think, the audio. But that's okay. So you get the concept. But notice how it's flowing, right? And I could just click forward, click on the block I want. And by the way, if I'm listening to something, I say, oh, no, that should have been on the test. So all this part should be on the test. So I'm going to turn that red. Very easy to edit, right? It doesn't take long. And then you say, oh, that's no good. Somebody was playing around the classroom. I'm just going to delete that block right there. Very easy to delete. You can edit this audio, and then you can extract it. Extract. And then you extract, and that's the beauty for this software. You extract the important stuff, right? Like you extract whatever category you selected, okay? Like you could extract the don't understand, right? Like right now, I'm just going to go extract the important stuff, press OK, there it is. And it's only going to pick the slides that's got important stuff on it. And then you could, after you extract it, just listen to it. Or I like to export it to a video. So basically, I create an MP4. Right? So save. Yeah, I'm just putting my desktop. And then it creates the MP4. And then you could actually listen to it on the TV. Right? Because all these machine connects to TVs now, right? So that's another way of working too, by the way. All right, so my MP4 should be right here. That's the way my son studies, by the way. He puts stuff on the TV and he walks around. Like it's a big screen TV, then he walks around. Because for him to sit down and study, forget it. But walking around works great for him, right? So why not? See, that technology enables that to happen very easy. Okay. So that's SonAscent. There's a lot of features there. I'll not have time to go onto the details as I like to. Just time check. We're going till 10, right? Is that just want to make sure because I want to pace myself. Yeah, okay. All right, so now let's talk. Some of it that I showed today is specialized software. Some of it is mainstream software like OneNote, right? So I think it's important to select, okay, what type of software should we go when we have somebody with a disability that requires assistive technology. And by the way, I make a big difference between assistive technology and accommodations. To me, it's two separate fields, I'm also a learning strategist, which we recommend a lot of strategies, because without strategies is basically how you're going to use it in that environment, right? So, I mean, if you're going to need like a certain things, like, like if I give you a software, but you don't know how to use it, it may not work for you. Like, for example, a smart pen. With the smart pen, I use the Cornell method for taking notes, which is a strategy for taking notes, right? So it's a very specific way. I won't show it today, but, just Google it, Cornell method of taking notes. It's a great way to learn the information that's being given to you, okay? So you need to compare that. Like the accommodation usually is provided by the school, right? And it's usually it could be a change into curriculum. That would be a modification, but a change into something, right? Technology is not always considered an accommodation because sometimes it can be used. Like it's actually promoting the ability to do something. So yes, it's accommodation, but sometimes you need to make sure that you include training in that. Like it's not just giving you more time. Yeah, sure. There's no training with giving you more time. But when you say technology, you have to train, right? You have to train these individuals that are using technology. And I find, a lot of the funding programs, it's getting better in my province, but a lot of funding programs, training was never included, right? So we always forget about the training. And it's such an important part of it, right? Okay. Now, Word is kind of a technology if you think about it. So with Word, I can actually type, I can do all kinds of stuff. Obviously, a lot of you are using Word, but Word can read too, right? I got a reader right up here. Like it's on top. It's not there by default, so you have to find it and put it there, but it's in Word. Like it's part of Word. So if I click on that, I select the text I want, and I press play, and then it's going to read it. Speakers are too low, but it's going to basically read it. Right? So it's a very basic, rudimentary reader, but if you have somebody waiting for technology, let's start with that. Like it reads already, right? So there's no reason why we can't use what we own right now, because that's where we start. OneNote is part of Microsoft Office. OneNote will read, as I showed you earlier. Right? It's part of the learning tools. That's just an add-on that you put to OneNote. Okay? That's free. It doesn't cost anything. But sometime you may need something more specialized. So for laptops, I did create this table to try to demonstrate my concept of specialized software for learning disability, of course. So if I show you my way of thinking here, is that when I have somebody that I meet, I always start with Word. I included Adobe Acrobat there, but it's not very useful, so I skip it now. But Word and OneNote, that's where I start with, okay? It doesn't matter which student, because I can do that on many devices too. It's not just a laptop. But then I go into the next sequence, WordQ, ClariRead, TextHelp, Kurzweil. And the reason I created this chart here is to teach the people that are selecting assistive technology in my province that there's a progression to follow. Okay? Like in the past, psychoeducational assessment, I was always recommending Kurzweil because that's what they know, right? So the people recommending is Kurzweil, Kurzweil. Well, you know, Kurzweil is $1,300. That's a lot of money. Fine, money is not an object. Okay, let's put that aside. It's complicated. It's a big software. So never mind the money. There's so many features. Do you need all these features? And that's why I put a couple links to the features. I could email that to you if you come and see me later, but the concept is that what features will that person need? Okay? Like Word can read. Now, is it going to follow along the text? No. Is that important? Yes. Okay, then Word reader is no good. So, I mean, it's usually, the Word reader won't last long, obviously, but it's a start. Usually that's the way you get people to start. And if they don't use the Word reader, are they going to use Kurzweil? You know, then you have to start somewhere, right? So the concept then, I actually go to WordQ before I go to Kurzweil, and I try those features because WordQ is very easy to learn, and WordQ is not just a word prediction software, it's a great reader. You know, WordQ has a lot of feature. WordQ, where it is. And I'll bring back my Word. It's not just for Word either. WordQ will work with all kinds of software. It'll read the internet, depending if the website's accessible, of course. Right, so here's my WordQ. So I'm going to be typing, right? So typing with WordQ. Now I'm not selecting my words right now. Is easier. But you see how that's because I got my French dictionary coming up. Okay. Okay, so utiliser le clavier. Voilà. And if I don't know how to spell clavier, then I put my mouse on it. It's actually reading it. Again, you can't hear it, all right? If I put my mouse on this one, it's going to read that word, and it's not going to be the right word, so I'm going to know that. Then I just click on that one, right? And then it's going to put it on. So there's all these features, and then you can actually take all that stuff, and then you could read it. And notice with this one, we still can't hear it. But the concept here is that, you know, again, you know, you could take text, you could go on the internet. I'm just going to go to my conference here. If you could highlight text, you know, then you could read that. I'm not in Word, but I'm using WordQ. You see what I mean? So it's got a lot of potential. So back to my OneNote. If WordQ is not what I want, then maybe I could go to Claro Read. Now, WordQ is very basic. Look at all the features. I got 4 buttons. I got 5 because I actually have Speed Queue, which we don't really use. But if you don't have Speed Queue, you got 4 buttons. I'm not going to save that one. And by the way, WordQ, I can switch English to French easy. Right? You could just create a different vocabulary. So that's easy for me to do. But I got Claro too, Claro Read. And this one's got more features, right? And there's other software. I'm not showing you all the software, and it's pretty much up to date except for that thing. I'm going to say no, not for now. But notice it's got more buttons, right? It's actually got a scan feature, which I don't use anymore. I used to recommend these little scanners a lot. It's just a great little device because, you know, if you have a tablet, you got a camera, so you don't need this. But if you have a laptop and you don't have a cell phone, then I recommend this. Basically, all you do with that is you click, you scan, and then it goes directly to your computer or any device. It creates a JPEG or a PDF. All right, so that's another way to get information into a computer. Very portable, all right? But look at all the features. So you got to scan, you got to play, you got to stop, you got to check. And there's more than that, too. There's extras, right? So you can actually, you know, Claro Ruler, screen ruler. A very good screen ruler. Notice that I'm changing the color of the screen if I'm in Word, you know, and I want to read this line. I'm just going to press OK there. Oh, I turned it off. Right? Just press a check mark, I guess. You know, it's easy to focus, right? You just put your mouse exactly where you want, and you could change the color, right? So WordQ doesn't have that, but this one does. So that, to me, if that's a need, I wouldn't go to WordQ, I would go directly to this one, okay? And I'm going to close it. Oh, close it, and I forgot to turn off my ruler. My Claro, where's my Claro? And I'll show you the next one. All right. right, so I want to turn that off. Where's the off feature? Just close it, I guess, there. All right. The read and write. Now, what I like about the read and write, it's got great features, first of all. But it's also not very expensive because they changed the model. And that's a new way of working for these companies. Microsoft, do you guys still buy the license or do you subscribe to Microsoft? I kind of subscribe myself, because you're paying, I don't know, $100 a year. This software, Read and Write, the last time I bought it, which was only a few years ago, was like $700. I get it now for about $80 a year, right? So if I were to use it for 7 years, it's paid for, right? If I don't use it for 7 years, great, I get the next one, the next better version, right? So to me, it makes more sense. Like, why would I spend $700 on the software? But the funding groups or funding programs that we have, they don't do that. They don't buy subscription, they buy the full amount. All right, so if you want to buy Read and Write, you're going to pay $700 for the full license. But look, it's got a lot more features, okay? Again, it's got your basic reader, but this one's got highlighters. So the highlighters allows you, it's kind of my Sonocent where the audio was color-coded. Well, the same thing here is what I could do is I could actually color-code text, right? And by color-coding text, basically I could say, all right, this text will be yellow, this one will be blue. I'll put blue here too, all right? And then you could extract it, and then by extracting it, you collect the highlight, and it just creates another document, and then it gives you the source where it came from, which is kind of nice too. So if you're doing research, or doing some kind of project, then you get that information, okay? So those are features that was not in WordQ or Claro Read, okay? I don't have Kurzweil installed, so I can't show you, but Kurzweil's got great additional feature. One in particular, that if you take a picture of text and you actually want to take the text and read it, and basically it doesn't sound properly when you're reading it, then with Kurzweil you could edit the underlying text, making it some change so it sounds better, but you're not changing the way it looks. So you're changing the way it sounds, not the way it looks on the page, right? Great feature, but, is that feature an important feature for somebody? Yes or no? If yes, then yeah, I would definitely go with Kurzweil. See, those are what you need to look at when you select assistive technology. What is the feature that you're going to be using? Okay. I'm going to close a few things here. I'm not going to save that. No. All right. Let me show you one more thing that's very interesting. So I'm basically using this regular mouse. That's a piece of assistive technology too, by the way. All right? It's a mouse. It's wired. It's an old style mouse. It doesn't have a ball, but it does have a scanner on the bottom. Okay? So look at this work. This is pretty cool. So if I take prevention link to promotion for somebody, and I'm going to press a button. So basically, I'm going to be scanning your text here. See? Just with my mouse. So even if I make a mistake, if I go and lift it again, I can start all over. So it's not a problem. Okay? And I'm going to finish with the scan. Then I could actually crop what I don't need, pictures not. I'm really just interested in the text right now. Just get rid of some of the stuff. Okay. Then I'm going to press OK, and I could change the color and the editing and all that. And it gives me what we call this Dacuda software, which basically gives me this link. But then on the bottom, on the left, I can decide which format I want. So what do I want to do with that text? Well, I want to scan it to a JPEG, to a Word document, PDF, or just a text, like a notepad, or PNG, which is another type of image. So if I click on the Word, because I use Word quite a bit, It's going to take this image. Oh, here it is in the back. At least I thought it was in the back. Here it is, right? And then from here, see, this is text that I can actually work with, right? So I took it from my mouse. It was on my table, right? And I basically took a scan from it. And what's that? It's like $100 for a mouse like that. Now, the new ones are wireless, obviously. You know, I bought that a few years ago. But if you get the wireless one, it's even better. Okay? So, I mean, it's just the way you use the mouse has changed here, right? It's just a new type of mouse. But it's a great concept which gives people that needs to get information in the digital format to do it much quicker and without frustration. Okay? And that was a big problem we had in the schools when I started working. You know, the whole point of our project for some of the schools that we work with, we selected 5 schools. Well, one started with a pilot, but then we ended up with 5 schools at the end to select technology for the students that are in grade 8 and up. And the goal was to get them familiar enough with the technology so we can actually, when they graduate, they don't have to wait for the Canada Study Grant to kick in before they get to start their college at, in September. So basically, we select the technology with them, we train them, we support the teachers, we support everybody that's working with these kids, and then when they get to graduate, we give them the technology even, which is a neat concept, right? And then they get to post-secondary September, they're ready. You know, they got the technology, they got the knowledge. And that's what we need to do, obviously, with technology, is we need to start younger, and we need to make sure we don't remove it from them when they graduate, right? You know, there's got to be a plan. You know, that's the transition plan, right? So, I mean, everybody's talking about transition. You know, we need to start doing it, okay? So, I got 30 seconds probably, so I know I'm not going to be able to start the next demo, but that's okay. You know, I'll be around. Stop, there we go. I mean, you know, just finish with these words. It's, you know, you guys have technologies in your pocket. I didn't even get to the iPad. I wish I would. But the iPad can do voice recognition right away, right? You can read selection. You could select text. It's going to read it to you. I don't remember last time I type a text. I usually just say my text. And it, you know, it types it, and I can listen to any email, any document, website. So you guys have that in your pockets, you know? You have test laptop that does what I do today, and you got tablets. So let's see how we could start using the technology better. So once you learn how to do it, then you could help the people you're working with.